Elon Musk just dropped another bombshell revelation for Tesla stock investors, in which over time will become a massive stream of revenue and, most importantly, bottom line profits for Tesla. In fact, we actually have a lot of breaking news today for Tesla stock that I will share with you here in this video. But first things first, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you find value out of this video, because it's free 99 and it costs you absolutely nothing to do so. In turn, you help push this video out to more people that clearly need to be educated on Tesla stock. At least judging by all of the bears in Tesla stock all of the sudden, considering Tesla is going to do some pretty fantastic things in the next coming months, I think a lot of people need to be educated. Omar's Catalog wrote this post on X. He says, number 1, in the future, every car will be self-driving and electric. Number 2, every car Tesla makes is self-driving and electric, and they are the world leader in EV sales. Number 3, as robot cars eat the auto market, Tesla will be the overwhelming benefactor. Elon Musk responds and says, we will license the tech to other car companies. So not only does Tesla have this incredible product, which is FSD, that is evolving at a rate and speed that you could only dream of 6 months ago, with new update after new update, bugs being fixed, and really getting to a point now where I think you're pretty dang close to being able to launch the robo-taxi network, but Tesla is also going to license out this technology to other car companies. This is something Elon Musk referenced 3 earnings calls ago and said they were already in talks with a legacy OEM to license full self-driving technology. Alex here on X says it seems finally someone called, and there's a lot of speculation that Ford is going to be the first one to license FSD technology, just like the supercharging network. Now, I'm not going to say this is going to happen tomorrow, but down the line, it's going to happen. There's probably a 50% chance you get some kind of licensing of FSD this year, and closer to an 80% chance for next year. This is all in a relative short-term amount of time. And I'm sure, as you guys already know, all Teslas come equipped with the hardware necessary for full self-driving. So Tesla takes that hit to margins up front by installing cameras. Well, that means FSD, the software update, is basically 100% gross margins, call it 90% net margins. I would expect something similar if Tesla were to license FSD to other car companies. So that becomes very accretive to bottom line profitability, let alone the robotaxi network, which is really the holy grail of opportunity for Tesla. This is something I think can be akin to the supercharging network, where everyone was so far behind, you can't even try to compete. That's where we are right now with full self-driving. We've seen it time and time and again. Look at the problems that Cruise, Waymo are having in just a couple different cities out there. When you're relying on a LiDAR technology, some kind of radar or cameras to facilitate a autonomous vehicle, you can't account for everything. A camera is going to mistake wet concrete for dry concrete, and you're going to plow right into it. It's not going to get over far enough. It's not going to adjust for edge case scenarios like a human driver would, like Tesla is training FSD to do. So with that said, FSD technology is almost going to be necessary. Give it 5 or 10 years for every car to come standard with it. And long before then, I think you will see the early adopters again, maybe even this year, like a Ford, maybe a GM, start to sign up to license FSD technology because they'll have to, and there will be no catching up to Tesla. Just to consider the amount of money these companies like a Ford or a GM would have to spend on GPUs, that's the lesser problem. The bigger problem would be actually selling, let's say, a Blue from Ford, right? Blue Cruise or whatever it is. I think it's so irrelevant, it doesn't even matter, but bear with me. Just getting the GPUs, that's the easy part. Actually getting the data to train the platform, if Ford were to go with a, end-to-end neural net network like Tesla, that is just impossible at this point. That would take so long. It would be just not even worth it. So I do think this is a pretty solid, yet again, reaffirmation that Tesla is willing to license FSD technology, and that could be coming sooner than you realize. Let me know what you think down below in the comment section. In the meantime, Tesla stock is up over 0.5% today, and yes, you have a lot more Tesla stock breaking news. Cathie Wood says Tesla will likely reach $2,000 per share in 5 years and cites the robotaxi opportunity as the main reason. Now, I do plan to actually share the video. It's about 7 minutes long with Cathie Wood and Andrew from CNBC in the next video. So stay tuned to the channel for that one. A special segment on Cathie Wood, on Tesla stock, and what the future looks like for the robotaxi network. And go ahead and follow the X account. It is Michael Tyler over there. I share a lot of fascinating things in regards to Tesla, the broader markets, the Fed, just really things that I think you guys need to know. I reshared this post from Yashu Sharma on X. He says, if you don't think what happened with Tesla superchargers will exactly happen with Tesla FSD, you are asleep at the wheel. Ross Gerber has recently been doing what Ross Gerber does and just saying out-of-line things on X. He says the board of directors at Tesla should be replaced with independent directors as required by law. Elon Musk responds and says he's such an idiot that he can't even tell he's an idiot. BYD sales dropped 42% this last quarter. This was a tough quarter for everyone. Even GM's overall sales were down almost 2% year over year. Their retail sales were up about 6%, and that's because they shipped the cars to the dealerships. But how many cars are actually being sold from the dealerships is actually down year over year. So it's an entire auto industry problem right now. In fact, Tesla's year-over-year decline was only 7%. GM's year-over-year decline was about 20%. So Tesla is doing better than everyone by that metric. Canaccord Genuity analyst Giankis has reiterated his Tesla price target of $234 and a buy rating. He wrote this long note. Okay, I'll share with you kind of the main point. He says it's easy to say that it's all demand related for reasons like it's Elon Musk's fault for being so controversial, or pick your geography. Demand is terrible or EV sentiment is waning. Some of those factors are likely partially responsible. Nonetheless, we continue to maintain that the issues of Q1 2024 were somewhat demand related, but mostly supply related. They go on to say that if the Cybertruck were fully ramped at 62,500 units a quarter of production, the story of the quarter would have been much different. We assume the company delivered about 3,500 Cybertrucks in Q1. He says ultimately the truth probably lies in the middle. Slightly weaker demand, mainly based on interest rates. It's unaffordable to finance anything. I don't see a lot of homes being sold either, right? You don't see a lot of cars being bought. Anything that has to do with interest rates, people are definitely feeling that pinch, okay? But it's somewhat in the middle. Demand and also supply did play a role on this quarter. You've seen almost 70,000 additional units that were produced last quarter that were not sold. If you think about it, the arson attack in Germany, if you think about just the slower ramp of the Model 3 in the US, potentially a good chunk of those deliveries are pushed into Q2 because of those issues. We did see last week's insurance registration numbers out of China come in at over 17,000. So it looks like the last week of Q1 was actually pretty strong for Tesla. And if that continues, well, it's going to be really reaffirmation that it's not a demand issue entirely, that it's a supply and demand issue. Meaning that if all things were constant in Q1, supply was not an issue, the number wouldn't have been as bad. And that could be what, partially at least, why Tesla stock is up over 0.5% today. It's never going to be about what happened last quarter. It's always more important what's going to happen the quarter after that, and then the quarter after that. You are rewarded for investing in a company that looks and builds towards the future, that doesn't dwell on the past. Cathie Wood yesterday bought almost 235,000 shares of Tesla stock worth over $40 million. And I would imagine she's probably doing even more buying today. What's actually interesting in her disclosures and what some people are pointing out is she actually sold about 2,000 shares of Nvidia yesterday and put all of that money, almost all of that money, into Tesla instead. Morgan Stanley's Adam Jonas says Tesla cited supply side challenges, but in our opinion, the bigger factor is slowing demand. Our Q2 current delivery estimate of 496,000 units implies nearly a 30% sequential improvement quarter over quarter, far too large a gap to bridge given continued pressures on demand, competition, and a lack of new products. Yet again, everyone loves Adam Jonas, but he's kind of asleep at the wheel as well at this point. The demand issues that Tesla is facing are not just Tesla issues, and he's not pointing that out. And I think it's obvious. It's interest rates, it's financing cost. That's what is actually hurting Tesla. And some of the biggest news for Tesla stock investors today coming to us from the Financial Times. Apparently, Tesla teams are going to visit India this month to scout sites for a $2 to $3 billion India Gigafactory. Quote, Tesla might later also look at setting up its own battery plant. Following the Gigafactory model, it has followed at its plants in California, Texas, Berlin, and Shanghai, where suppliers have set up shop next to or near the mother plant. Nothing much surprising this, to be honest. Tesla teams have visited earlier and have even been in discussions with states. Keep in mind, Tesla also has recently just leased a 5,600 square foot office building in India, and this is really just a matter of time at this point. But Tesla is looking to take that first mover advantage, getting into the Indian market where, let's say 30 years from now, it could be the biggest country in the world. Obviously, it already is the biggest country by population. The question is, can India really start to develop the country? If the development rate does go faster than people are expecting, you could see a big total addressable market start to open up for Tesla. The earlier Tesla can get their brand in India, the better off they will be longer term in the country. And since India is still developing, $2 to $3 billion gets you pretty dang far in India. Whereas if Tesla waited 5 or 10 years to make the push into India, which would be the wrong decision in my personal opinion, it would cost a lot more to develop in the country. Ford sold 20,223 EVs in Q1, making Ford America's second best-selling EV brand behind Tesla for the quarter. You had 9,589 Mach-E sales and 7,743 F-150 Lightning sales and almost 2,900 Ford E-Transit sales. Tom Nash on X says BYD dropped EV deliveries 43%. Somehow mainstream media forgot that while they were sugarcoating the 20% drop in EV sales of GM. Tesla China is launching its first interest-free policy promotion. Buyers can enjoy 3 years of interest-free benefits with a down payment of about $11,000 if they order the Model 3 or the Model Y before April 30th. This is also another option that Tesla can start to employ in the US as well as Europe, especially when rates do start to come down. That's what a lot of dealerships do. Right? A Ford dealership, 0% interest-free financing. You always see those dang commercials. I've never personally checked to see how valid it is, but I'm sure that if they're advertising it, it is valid. And that does have a big impact on people's willingness to buy a product these days. Really, ever since 2020, people have taken a stronger focus on their personal finance. That's why a lot of people got into the markets. A lot of people don't want to work as much. They want to make as much. They want to enjoy life and also really focus on their finances. So if Tesla was able to offer 0% financing like other car companies at some point, that could be a pretty big deal. Frida Duan, most of you guys don't know who this is, but she is part of Alameda Capital, and she wrote this post on X. She says Tesla's moat is self-driving. She says the self-driving space has been a battleground of ideas. LiDAR versus cameras, rule-based to end-to-end. A lot of dead bodies with new entrants keep coming. As FSD pivots to end-to-end, there are a lot of discussions around its moat. Why can't other OEMs get there? What about NVIDIA? Or Mobileye. Data stands at the heart of this discussion. While the importance of data volume and quality is widely recognized, nuances such as the type of data and its accessibility are often overlooked or undervalued. And this thread does go on, and I will share it more in depth in the next video. Tesla Korea delivered 6,025 cars to South Korea in March. This is the best first quarter record ever by a long shot. The only time that really even compares to this is 2020, when Tesla delivered 4,070 cars in Q1. But other than that, I mean, nothing even comes close. Sentiment today is improving a little bit on stock twits for Tesla. Yesterday, you were extremely bearish at 21. Today, you were only bearish at 36. Message volume yesterday was at 64. Today, it is at 60. And the participation ratio is at 55, which is considered high, meaning that a lot of accounts are talking about Tesla. We did get some very good economic data that came out today, and that was your ISM Services PMI. The headline number came in at 51.4. The estimate was 52.4. ISM Services Business Activity came in at 57.4. The estimate was 57. ISM Services Employment came in at 48.5. Estimate was 48. ISM Services New Orders came in at 54.4. The estimate was 56. So you missed there, less service activity overall, but it was really the prices paid component of ISM services that really sent the markets rocketing higher today. This number was expected at 58.4. Anything above 50 is growing, right? Expanding. So that was a very strong number we were expecting. The number actually came in at 53.4. Wow. Oh my gosh. Services, inflation, prices paid for services starting to decelerate in the month of March. This is a pretty good sign. Inflation is, well, maybe only temporary in the first 2 months of 2024. Maybe the March data will be better than what we have seen so far. Option activity today from hedge funds and institutions in Tesla stock is actually quite negative. You have seen 481 trades totaling $105 million with a positive order value of 33%. Tesla's short interest sits at 3.71%. You do have about $17.12 billion currently in short positions, with cost to borrow fees today around 1%. Let me tell you right now, if we get good news, like I'm expecting on earnings, and Tesla commits to investors, they are now focused more on profitability, cars being sold for higher amounts of profits. Well, that is a recipe for disaster for the short sellers. And that could be an upside surprise for Tesla stock investors, but kind of going against my thesis is Cathie Wood and what she says later on. We'll go over the clip together, but she said today that Tesla probably cuts prices further. And that would be really bad news for Tesla stock. So ultimately, we will have to wait and see. Google Trends data for full self-driving continues to go parabolic, currently at 24, estimated to be around 100. First time ever, this is actually a chart of FSD in Google Trends, or full self-driving in Google Trends. You've never seen anything like this in the whole entire history of full self-driving. Google Trends data continues to show, yet again, an explosion in the Cybertruck and Google Trends data for the Cybertruck as well as the entire Tesla brand. You could see the Model 3 going from 39 to 40, which right now, this is really not the season. You should be seeing a lot of this search trend activity to begin with. The Model Y staying at about 38, but the Cybertruck, look at that, going from 39 to 45. The Cybertruck is now the most searched product on Google for Tesla. That's insane. And I don't know what world we live in here, but I feel like that's going to be or can't be a negative, right? That has to be a positive for the other Tesla models. You also have the Model X and the Model S staying stable, the Model X at 11 and the Model S sitting at 14, which again are historically high for both of those models also. And Tesla continues to run about 4,000 different ads with Google. We also did get a speech from Fed Jerome Powell that I should point out some of the main highlights. Fed Jerome Powell says if the economy evolves as central bank expects, most Federal Open Market Committee participants see it as likely appropriate to begin cutting policy rates at some point this year. He also says that recent readings on job gains and inflation are higher than expected, but do not materially change the overall picture. He says it's too soon to say whether recent inflation readings are more than just a bump. And finally, the Fed has time to let incoming data guide its policy decisions. Central bank is making decisions meeting by meeting, so basically the status quo of what we have heard from Powell recently, which has been very positive. With all of that said, Tesla stock is trading higher even yet since we started filming this video. Tesla stock is up 0.9% coming off of the low of the day down here at about $163 or so. Interestingly, that was also roughly the low, almost the same exact low yesterday also. So Tesla stock is making a higher high compared to yesterday. That's good, at least in the short term. But if you do get market weakness, you are set up for a further drop down into the high 150s. If I am correct, this upcoming earnings should be a big positive catalyst for Tesla stock, especially, again, if Elon and the Tesla team say they're going to focus more on profitability, not just cutting prices and growing unit volumes at all costs. That's going to be huge. That's really going to set a path ahead for higher profitability, higher EPS, and the markets would love that. But I think you also need to be prepared for quite the opposite. Another disaster earnings call, another 10% drop on earnings. And if that happens, it would be 5 earnings in a row. We have dropped 9 to 10%. So nonetheless, be prepared for anything. But at this point, what is Tesla going to throw at us that is negative that's not already priced in? I think the only thing would be if the Tesla team really just says, we'll cut prices until we're basically losing money. That would be like the last thing I could see possible that would not be priced into Tesla stock at this point. Everyone and their grandmother is bearish on Tesla. So that is going to do it for this video. Let me know what you think about this information down below in the comment section. In the meantime, hit the like button as well as subscribe to the channel. It's free 99, costs you absolutely nothing to do so. And after watching this video, hopefully, well, people that were pulled into the video because of you guys hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel have a better understanding of Tesla and what is currently going on. But again, don't hit the like button or subscribe to the channel because I asked you to, but do it because Emerson asked you to. Ain't that right? Ain't that right? Yeah, that's basically what he said. So nonetheless, you guys enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.